8 o'clock. Imagine your boy CP with dope slangers. I'm talking before TVs with coat hangers. We sold bangers, show strangers who real flex. Just know the still next if you feel best. My skill set so real threat that coincides with Griot.
All right, back off the radar with another interview. Today, I am joined by a rapper straight out of Atlanta, Georgia. This gentleman is known for being a battle rap champion. His appearances on 106 and Park's Freestyle Friday. He is a member of the group The Divine Sons, a member of the group 8 a.m. in the morning. And not only that, he also has a number of relationships with several legendary Atlanta rappers. I'm talking about none other than Corey Prewitt, aka Diligent.
Hey, what's happening, Nick? Hey, man. Once again, man, thank you for having me, and good morning to you. And man, hope your morning is blessed thus far. Most definitely.
Every morning's blessed, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the interview. When did you first rap?
I started rapping. If I could take you back to my middle school days, I started rapping when I was like 12 years old. And to give you an idea, I attended elementary and middle school with Kris Kross, and in middle school, I attended with Young Dro as well.
Okay.
So when Kris Kross made it with Jump in '92, we were in sixth grade. We were 12 years old, and so that was the motivation that was the motivation right there that started me rapping. Like when to see both of my friends make it, and Chris and Chris, both of them, we were both in auxiliaries together. We were all three of us were in the band together. Me and Chris Smith were in the chorus together, and all three of us were in the Boy Scouts of America as well. So you know what I'm saying, when they made it, you know what I'm saying, in sixth grade, that's when we
Okay.
really started taking it seriously with rapping. Myself and Young Dro.
Okay.
That's when how he started rapping as well.
Gotcha. How was Chris Smith in chorus? Was he a standout talent or was he kind of shy or?
You know what, Chris Smith, man, when I tell you, Nick, and I speak for Chris Smith and Chris Kelly, I met both of them in fourth grade in 1988 when we were in fourth grade. And when I tell you, Nick, all the girls wanted them. All the girls like Chris and Chris. You know, when you saw one, you saw the other. They were inseparable. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I kind of began my friendship with them, because all the girls that liked them, I liked, but they didn't give me the time of day, you know, because I didn't dress like baggy like they did, wearing the Nikes and the jeans. You know, I dressed kind of preppy. You know,
Okay.
my late mother had me dressing kind of preppy. So when I saw them getting the attention from the girls, and I think that was, I was like, man, I got to be cool with them dudes. So I just appreciate both of them accepting me, man. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Yeah.
So even if you weren't necessarily getting the girls, maybe by hanging out with them, you could get the rub from Chris and Chris, and then, who
Yeah.
knows what'll
Yeah.
happen.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. All right, so we're gonna
Yeah.
get into Kris Kross, Dro, and maybe some other rappers you know or you
Yeah.
were friends with in a little bit here. But I want to know about the groups that you're in. So we talked about Divine Sons and 8 a.m. in the morning. Could you tell me about those?
Yeah, sure. Well, Divine Sons, that is a culmination of MCs. There are a total of 8 MCs, counting myself, and it's kind of like, you have the Dungeon family, but under the Dungeon family umbrella, you have Outkast, you have Goodie Mob, you have Wish Dr. Backbone. It's the same thing with Divine Sons. Divine Sons is like the family. But under Divine Sons, you have 8 a.m., which is myself and Anon the Griot, who's also a part of Divine Sons. Uh, the way we met is actually at Morehouse College, 1997. That was the start of Divine Sons. We were actually Divine Mind Entertainment, DME, Divine Mind Entertainment. But when we reunited after, in our adult years, we just, changed it to the Divine Sons.
Okay.
And so that's basically like the breakdown of it. It's like we're the Divine Sons is the culmination of MCs, and we are from different parts of the world. And under that, you have 8 a.m., you have Black Smoke, and we have other duos and crews up under the Divine Sons umbrella.
Okay, so you just branch off of the Divine Sons like you did with 8 a.m. in the
Absolutely,
morning. Okay,
absolutely.
excellent. So
Yeah.
8 a.m. is about just drop some music, correct?
Yes. 8 a.m. in the morning just dropped their album. My album is called 8 a.m. and it's the number 8, just like on the logo here. That's on my shirt. that was actually designed by my daughter. My 21-year-old daughter Angel did the logo, so I definitely have to plug that in. That she actually drew it.
What was her name? What's your daughter's name?
Angel.
Oh, great job, Angel.
Angel, yeah. Shout out to Angel. But we dropped our album. It's called 8 a.m. in the morning, and it's streaming on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. It's out there. You just throw it in the Google search, and you'll pull it up. Also, our single 8 a.m. was released by Goodie of the Goodie Mob. He released the single for us, and our video is currently out on YouTube. And again, the song is 8 a.m. the number 8 by 8 a.m. in the morning. So you can check out the video, the album, and it's all out there. The merch we wear for 8 a.m. is webeautifulpeople.com. And that's where you get your 8 a.m. merch. We got shirts, we got hats, hoodies, it's all on there.
Excellent.
webeautifulpeople.com.
Very good. Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Weren't you in a group with Young Dro as well?
Yeah. I met Young Dro going back to my middle school days. To give you kind of like a quick backstory, we all were like a crew. You know how you have your friends that you run
Yeah.
with. That's how it was with me. We were called the LHDC. It was Leroy, Harold, Dewan, who is Dro, Dewan Hart, and myself, Corey, LHDC. And all of us, including with Kris Kross, all of us hung out together. We were all in the same grade. Some guys took the same classes. And so me and Dro were in a rap group together. But Dro he started rapping before anybody. He was rapping at pep rallies and everything. Like, I remember Dro rapping before Kris. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when Kris and them made it, we were like, man, if they can do it, we can do it type deal. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Okay.
that was 1993. Yeah,
Excellent.
92, 93. Yep.
Okay, so you were on 106 and Park's Freestyle Friday. What led up to that?
What happened was I was actually on in 2002. I was on Hot 107.9. It was a Freestyle Friday segment, and Hot 107.9 is our hip hop station down here in Atlanta, of course. And they had a Freestyle Friday segment every Friday within the 6 to 10 segment, and that's where I really got my foundation off for battle rap because I won that 10 weeks straight. So then when I won that 10 weeks straight, I battled a guy named Sonny. That's who I took the title from on the radio. He was the current champion. He's from Rochester. And I beat him on the radio, to win the championship. And then I had a 10-week reign, and then they retired me. Well, fast forward to... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You retired the champ? You said 10 weeks in a row. You retired the champ. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So retired the champ. And so that's 2002. Now, in 2003, I did American Music Makers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show, but it was a local show in Atlanta by Arnell Starr, the late Arnell Starr, and rest in peace to Arnell. And it was kind of like around when 8 Mile came out. It was 2003, so he started an Undisputed MC competition. So then I went from the radio to television. So then people started putting the face with the name. You know what I'm saying? Because they had heard me on the radio, but then when they saw me, they were like, oh, yeah, that's Diligent from the radio. Yeah,
Okay.
because people still remember that from a year ago. So I won that as well and won the actual Undisputed MC competition. So right there, that's when it happened. Cujo knew Lynette Grantfield, I think her name was, at 106, and they got wind of me and Sonny's battle because Sonny was a champion on 106. Let me add that in. He was the current champ on 106. So when they got wind of he and I battling in Atlanta and the whole story behind that, and I think they heard the radio battle and everything. That's how I got on 106 and Park. Cujo contacted me and he said, hey man, what you think about going on 106? They're trying to get more rappers from, other regions besides Jersey and Philly. And so I was actually the first Atlanta native to appear on 106 in '05. So I'm very blessed for the opportunity. And again, thanks to Lynette and everybody, the BET staff, Cujo from the Goodie Mob, everybody who had a part in that. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. So now what's really interesting about you, Corey, is so I've been friends with you for a number of years on social media, at least. You're always so professional. You're always such a gentleman.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. But then you put the mic in your hand and you get into battle rap mode, and I don't even recognize you.
Yeah, I always I always talk like it's like a transformation. You know what I'm saying? I always compare. Clark Kent had the glasses and kind of had the nerdy type swag. Kind of clumsy.
Mhm.
Lois Lane would give him the time of day. But then when he went in that phone booth and transformed, man, the glasses came off, the powers came, the cape came, the blue suit, and that's kind of like what it is. When I enter a battle rap or about to enter a competition, I just try to, it's kind of like a transformation. It's like Adam the He-Man.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
so we put you one-on-one. You're going against, we got Diligent versus Jen. Who's the winner?
Oh, shout out to Jen, man. 106 and Park Champion Fight Club. It'll be a good battle, man. It'll be a good battle, but I gotta say, Diligent might have to edge it, but it'll be a good one, boy. It'll be one of those battles that I think they'll be talked about for years and be debated for years. Like Jen got it because of this, or Diligent got it because of this. Because Jen is a phenomenal MC,
Mhm.
phenomenal artist. He was with Rough Riders, and man, he's really a pillar in the battle rap culture. He really doesn't get the credit that what I'm saying he really deserves. Yeah,
Definitely.
shout out to Jen.
Absolutely. All right, so we had a battle rap. We're on 106 and Park. We're on the radio. I went
Mhm.
first. I just slammed you. Everyone's cheering, giving me high fives. What is your
Right.
rebuttal? How do you hit me back?
Well, the first thing I do, I try to listen to what you said to
Okay.
me, cause like to give you an example, when I would do my battle raps and have battle raps and grind time and spit that heat, and I know you're familiar with the different leagues I battled on.
Yeah.
Not 10 times out of 10, I was older than the person I battled because I was one of the older guys,
Okay.
So I know they would get on me about my age. So I always had like a rebuttal in the back of my mind, like I know they're gonna say something about my age because it was just a regular thing, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was just one line, they always hit me about the age. Oh, you old, okay, grandpa, And so I always try to have a rebuttal for that. But like, let's say if you and I were battling, so if you didn't say anything that I could rebuttal, I would try to go off your appearance, the fact that you're bald, the fact that you wear
Knew it
glasses,
was coming.
you know. Yeah. So that's what I try to do. I would just try to attack what's in front of me, because especially if it's a crowd, which it is most of the time,
Yeah.
they can identify it. Like that's really freestyle. Like he thought of that right then
Yeah.
and there. So it only adds, to the whole
Okay.
battle rap competition. Absolutely.
All right. So anybody that's trying to improve their freestyle skills, so they can take that advice. So you're first you're going to listen. You're going to try to rebuttal if for some reason something doesn't come to
Right.
you. You just look at the appearance, and then you have
And
material.
parents. Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, are you pretty close with Goodie Mob? You brought up Cujo a little bit ago.
Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, I actually am. What the way I know Cujo, because first off, shout out to the Goodie Mob, Timo, Cujo, Gip, and CeeLo. And I know you saw I was with Gip the other day. I
Just the
know
other
you
day.
said you followed me on social media. So the way it happened, Cujo's grandmother, his late grandmother, rest in peace to Miss Willis, his grandmother and my dad, all of us attend the same church, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, in west side of Atlanta, or southwest side. And Cujo's grandmother was in my dad's Sunday school class. My late father was a Sunday school teacher,
Okay.
and she was in my dad's Sunday school class. So this kind of speeded up. My dad introduced me to her one day, and he said, "Do you know who cousin she is?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Miss Bussy. Miss Bussy was my nursery teacher when I was 3, 4 years old. She was my nursery teacher, and that was her first cousin." So fast forward. So my dad takes me to this house. They having this party. I go in, it's food, and when we walk into the den, is a big headshot picture of Cujo. As soon as you walk into the den, and I saw it, and I was like, man, that's a big picture of Cujo. That's Cujo from the Goodie Mob, because this is '95, so cell therapy. They were there at the top, like cell therapy, soul food. It's doing this time, so and doing stuff with Outkast. So when I saw the picture, I immediately identified with it. Goodie Mob being my favorite group, but I didn't put two and two together. I just didn't, because I met his grandmother on a whole nother day, and this is a different day, so it wasn't all in the same at the same time. man, Cujo walked down the stairs and he walked across to go get some more food, and I caught a glimpse of him. And I said, yo, I said, yo, Dad, that's Cujo from the Goodie Mob. And he kind of like, yeah, I know. So that's how I met Cujo. My dad surprised me and took me over to his mother's house, and his grandmother was there. Again, rest in peace to Miss Willis. And that's how my official introduction to Cujo. Um, a kind of a part two. After Cujo had his accident in 2002, when he was in the hospital recovering, my father and I went to go see him.
Okay.
And I had a CD with me, but I was so skeptical of giving it to him just because of the whole accident and the situation, and I didn't know how he would be feeling. So my dad said, just take it with you. So we go in the hospital room, Cujo's in there. My dad prayed for him, and I remember Andre 3000, his mother was in there. Rest in peace to Miss Benjamin. She was in there too. But so we go in there, and I had my CD. I said, hey, Cujo, I know, he knew I rapped. He already knew I rapped, but he had never heard myself. I said, well, I got my CD, but if you don't want me to give it to you, I understand. Man, Cujo said, he got that deep voice, like, man, Dill, give me that CD. Give me that CD, man. He took my CD, man, while he was recovering, man, and that, to me, that was like the real foundation. I mean, of course, I met him at his mom's house, but man, when he took that CD, man, I think that really solidified, like, you know what I'm saying? He really started messing with me then musically. So I got to give love for Cujo for that.
Absolutely.
And man, and after an accident like that, the way he's still standing, no pun intended, to Goodie Mob's album, and he's still standing. He's just such a strong brother, and I got a lot of love and admiration for Cujo Goodie, man. He's really a strong brother, man.
Definitely.
He's an inspiration to many, as well as the other members of Goodie Mob.
Absolutely, yeah. That accident took part of his leg where it was amputated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. From his knee and below, it amputated. But man, I tell you, man, when you see Cujo in person, you wouldn't even know it, man. He still continues life. Great father, great husband, great artist. And I'm just glad. It was a bump in the road, but man, I tell you, Cujo's so strong, and he's just an inspiration to others, man. He's just a really positive motivation.
Yeah. Goodie Mob was very intriguing. I remember when they came out, there's very few songs or groups. The first time I heard Cell Therapy, because it was so different, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck this is, but I like it.
Yeah.
It was such a good song, but definitely intriguing group.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right, so we're going to get into, because you grew up with Kris Kross, how was it being in school with them when the explosion of Jump happened? And were you still talking to him a lot after that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The way it happened, you know how it is when you're in school, or even when you're at work, or any gathering, church or anything. Word gets out, it spreads like wildfire. You'll put something out in the atmosphere, and the next thing you know, it starts on the first floor, it's up at the 10th floor before lunchtime. That's how it kind of was at Bunch. It was rumors, man. Kris and them got a song on the radio. Man, Kris and them got a song on the radio. Then it started from that. Because they had a segment on the radio called Dig It or Diss It. Dig It or Diss It. It's kind of like Rush and Flush. You like it, you rush it. You dislike, you flush it. So, but it was called Dig It or Diss It. I think it was Rush or Flush It back then, though. Okay. But anyway, their song was on there. And it didn't get flushed, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, but from there, it was just like, it was like pandemonium, man, because now at first when Jump came out and it was out, like the videos out, everything, they were still coming to school. Again, we were in 6th grade. But Chris Kelly had transferred to Camp Creek Middle School our 6th grade year. And then when he transferred, that's when like they took off. Like when they did the In Living Color performance, and it's on YouTube, Kris Kross in Living Color. Man, that's what catapulted their career. Like when they walked off stage off In Living Color set doing Jump, man, I never saw Kris again. Kris was in, I saw him here and there, in and out of town, here and there. But like he was there 6th grade year. He was there none the 7th grade year, and then he came back 8th grade year to graduate with us in '93. Okay. So yeah, it was man. I got so many stories. I know we don't have all the time in the world, but hopefully we have the time I could share a couple of short stories, man. It's pandemonium, man.
So what's intriguing about Jump is, okay, so it came out in '92. It was one of the biggest songs of the year, one of the biggest songs of the '90s. But I almost feel weird saying this, but I still almost feel Jump is somewhat underrated. Now, this is why I say that. So Jump is probably not the first, probably one of the first hip hop songs that crossed over to white families, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Before that, what was Ice Ice Baby? You Can't Touch That. You Can't Touch It by
Right,
Hammer.
right, right, right. It's like Hammer, Vanilla Ice. Yeah, that was like 1990, 91. Yeah,
91, but
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
want to say that's
yeah.
one of the first songs that became a household name with all families, not just African Americans.
Right,
I mean, does that sound right
right,
to you? Or
right. I hear you.
I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of
absolutely.
people don't give it that same credit. But at the same time, it's weird saying it's underrated when it was as big as it was, and it was one of the biggest
Yeah.
songs of the decade.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know why I think it is? I think a lot of people underrate it because they were kids. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Just being born and raised in Atlanta and just being an artist myself and knowing artists, industry artists. A lot of people, when they talk about Atlanta, they always say Goodie Mob and Outkast. And definitely, they were definitely a foundation. You
Absolutely.
know, because of Outkast and Goodie Mob, we say Dirty South. We weren't saying Dirty South until Goodie Mob came out with Dirty South. We
Right.
weren't saying SWATs for Southwest Atlanta until Goodie Mob came out. So I think what happens is a lot of people here remember that Southern Player listed, soul food, but they forget about Totally Crossed Out. You know what I'm saying? And I think they kind of treat ABC the same way. I know they kind of sing more than they rap, but I think people kind of forget like ABC, Kris Kross, like that time, like they were out first before Outkast and Goody. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? And Ti. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know why people kind of forget that time in music because I think that was really the launching pad. Like after it was ABC, then Kris Kross, then you had Outkast coming 93, 94, then Goodie Mob right behind them, and Ti, Jeezy, Gucci.
Absolutely.
Shawty Low, rest in peace. So yeah, I don't. It's weird, but I definitely agree. It's always kind of gets looked over, kind of sort of like
Yeah.
it gets acknowledged. People know about it, but it just don't get that recognition that I
Yeah.
think it deserves because it definitely was a big song.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was in Bahamas literally just last summer on vacation, and Jump came
Yeah.
on in the club, and people were
Yeah.
still going crazy. Someone couldn't even speak English.
Yeah.
They knew the Jump. I mean, they knew that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, it's a great song. What's crazy is that, just with talking with Chris, what a lot of people don't know is that they actually recorded Totally Crossed Out twice, the whole album. They recorded one time. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think they recorded one time with Jermaine in Atlanta, and then they had to re-record the whole album in New York. It was like totally different places, but they had to re-record the whole album over. You know what I'm saying? For
Okay.
whatever reason. I guess because they got to a bigger studio once they got their deal. I'm not sure why, but
I
yeah,
believe they recorded the first, I could be wrong. I believe they recorded originally with Jermaine Dupri. Then it got so
yeah,
big, they hooked up with
right,
Joe the Butcher Nicolo, and he engineered it
right.
and made it a little more professional sounding, if I'm
There you
not
go.
mistaken.
There you go. Yeah,
Awesome.
there you
So,
go.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout
we,
out
we
to the
brought up
Clippers.
ABC as well. We have nothing but
Yeah,
love for Another Bad Creation. They were more of a new
yeah,
jack swing R&B, so that's why we kind of weren't putting them
yeah.
in that category. But ABC
Exactly.
obviously was doing big things, so
Exactly.
no
And
doubt about
with
that.
Chris and them when they came out, that's why when Kelly say don't try to compare us to another bad little fad. That's why he started with that because they were already getting that comparison, being kids, being from Atlanta. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so and to separate themselves, they said, well, we're gonna be 100% rap. We're not gonna sing. We're gonna be these two boys from Southwest Atlanta in the Camp Creek area, and we're gonna rap and we're gonna wear plats. So they really try to differentiate themselves from ABC because they were always getting compared to them. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Yeah.
definitely. All right, so we had the success of that. Of course, Totally Cross Out had Warm It Up. I Missed the Bus. It's a shame.
Yep.
A little
Yep.
over a year later, Da Bomb comes out, platinum
Yep.
album. Number one
Yeah.
single was All Right. They also had, of
Yep.
course, the self-titled single being The Bomb. They introduced the Brat.
Hmm.
I'm Real was doing big things at the time. Did you see any type of transition, or how was that time frame?
During that time, was I thought of a story right when you were talking about that. I actually remember when Chris flew out to New York to shoot the cover to the bomb when they wore the black Dickie
Black.
suits. What it was is that in eighth grade we went on a trip. It was sponsored by the Beta Club, and all the students who was on the honor roll, and we had a thing. You have honor roll and principals list, but we had a thing in between called Honors Plus. And it was like if you had a 3.5 GPA up to a 3.8 or 3.9, you were on the Honors Plus. So all the students on the Honor Roll and Honors Plus got to go on the trip, including myself. So, of course, me and Chris, were roommates. Me, Chris, Sydney, his bodyguard, and Leroy, who I spoke about earlier, who's in the group with Dro. All of us were in the room together. Us three, and then Sydney was in the room next door. Well, when we left Disney World, Chris didn't come back. We went on a charter bus. Chris didn't come back on the charter bus with us. He flew out a day before to go shoot the cover to the Bomb album. Everybody didn't know that, but we knew that because, of course, we was homeboys and, we were in the room with him. But, when you brought up, the Bomb, I remember when he went to go shoot the cover. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Leroy is in the All Right video. He's in the part where and then Jermaine's house. And I think it say it's the Daddy Matt bit, baby, that little part of the verse. And then Leroy, he's the little kid up that he got the high top fade.
Okay.
If you ever go back and lay the video, but that's Leroy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's behind Chris Kelly. That's Leroy.
Excellent. Okay, so we had to bomb. A lot of people, for some reason, they give Jermaine Dupri all the credit for discovering Debrat. It was, in fact, Kris Kross. So I'm sure you knew that, but sometimes you still get mixed information on that. So the bomb did big things. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you good. I was just going to comment about the Brat. I think with the Brat, the story was, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me again, I think Chris and them had a show, and the Brat won a contest, like some rap contest, wherever they were performing. I noticed the Brat is from Chicago, but I'm not sure if she was at Atlanta this time. I'm not sure where it was. But anyway, she won this rap contest or something, and I think going to the Kris Kross show or getting backstage passes was the prize. I don't know if Jermaine was actually at the actual show or wherever the competition was that she won, but some kind of way she got backstage to meet Chris and them, and that's how she got introduced to Jermaine and Kris Kross and got and then eventually debuted on the Bomb.
Gotcha. What I saw from an interview from Debrat was it was a Kris Kross talent show, and they were the judges. Jermaine was not there. They discovered her, and then they called her like, "Yo, Jermaine, we got to check this person out." He was so busy, he really didn't have time. So I believe it was Smith that kept pushing the subject. Hey, we got to meet this girl. And then finally they brought her out and everything. I guess the rest is history. But
yeah, that's dope. Okay, so that's how it happened. So yeah, shout out to the Brat, man.
Definitely. So a couple years later, Kris Kross, of course, gets a little bit bigger. They drop Young, Rich, and Dangerous. Album went gold in a week. Tonight was a #1 song. Live and Die for Hip Hop is still getting a lot of playtime to this day. What did you think of that album in that time frame?
Oh man, I love that album. That album right there, I think a lot of people wasn't ready for Chris and them to grow up. Doing the recording of that album, they're 15, 16 years old, just got their license, I think they, kind of grew little mustaches. They had grown up.
Yeah.
And Nick, yourself, and myself, being fans of Kris Kross, we kind of saw them grow up in front of our eyes. You know what I'm saying? And I think, in my opinion, Young, Rich, and Dangerous was a great album. But I think the reason that it didn't do the success that Totally Crossed Out and the Bomb did is for that reason that people weren't ready for Kris Kross to grow up. But, they don't stay little forever. We all grow up. We don't stay 12 and 13 forever. Eventually, they're going to grow up and be young men. The subject matters change. They start talking about, more girls now. And, the things that they talked about, more grown-up stuff. They wasn't cussing as much. They'll slip a word or a D word in there every so often. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they always kind of said the N word here and there. Never in a negative way, but just in a hip hop way. But that was an awesome album, man. I love Live and Die for Hip Hop, which was Chris Kelly's favorite verse. That's why they ended off with Live and Die for Hip Hop on the 20th So Def reunion show, because Kelly wanted to do that, not to jump the gun. But it was the introduction to Chris Terry. Chris and them got to do production on 2 of the songs, which Chris Terry was on. And it was just, to me, it showed maturity in that album. It showed, that they gleaned all this from the music industry. Now they producing. Now they bringing new artists and introducing them on their albums. You know what I'm saying? And man, that was just a great album, man. I love Tonight's the Night. I love the remix with Redman. That was, man, he killed it. And it was a great album.
Yeah.
Great time.
I mean, you could still
Yeah.
say underrated, but at the same time, it was very successful. I mean, they had a number one
Yeah.
song. Gold.
Yeah.
It eventually did, I believe, go
Yeah.
platinum. I don't know exactly when, but
Right. 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 Right.
what's interesting about that, you were talking about the growing up part. I was talking to Karan Goodman, cue ball from the Youngsters, not that long ago.
Shout out to the youngster. Coos Pop is the hip hop pop
Absolutely,
pop.
cool
Yeah,
group,
we
real nice
remember that.
guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Philly. I know they from Philly.
Yeah. So I was talking to
Yeah.
cue ball, and I asked him literally, is the media unfair to kid rappers? And he said no. He said the world
Mm.
is unfair because they just expect you to be a
Ah.
certain way once you have this amount of
Yeah.
success. And then if you change a little
Absolutely.
bit, they act like you didn't accomplish anything. So,
Right. And speaking about the youngsters, man, what's ironic about it is that the youngsters kind of changed their style. You remember they came out with Pass the Mic. They were
yeah,
little kids. But then when they came out with Coos Pop and the Aftermath album, had the bald head, the like the lumberjack type,
yeah.
shirts, the bats in their pocket. I think Tretch produced the song from Naughty by Nature.
It's featured in the
But
song,
and
yeah.
yeah, and what's ironic in that video, they kind of got a shot at Kris Kross. They throw the guy up against the wall with his shirt on back, his jersey on backwards.
Oh,
But
and in that video.
in that video,
Oh, I'll have
yeah,
to check
yeah,
that again. He didn't bring that part up.
yeah. In
Okay.
the first verse, he say something. So jump if you want me. And they throwing the dude up against
I'll have to check
at
that
the
part out.
wall.
Okay.
But
Excellent. I
but
knew
the
this. I
ironic
knew the
part,
lyrics, but okay.
yeah. But the ironic part is I remember being at Smith's house because Smith had, a collection of CDs. Like Ice Cube is his favorite all-time rapper. So I remember all the Ice Cube albums, and he had them in these different like boxes, if you will, but they had slots in them for the CDs. And I remember he had that Cruise Pop single. He had it. I remember picking it up. And I was like, Chris, you got this? And he was like, yeah, man, even though they distance it. So what I'm saying, I think it was always a respect there. Like it
Hmm.
was competition. Chris and them was on top at the time. So of course, everybody coming for the throne, the youngsters, illegal. ABC eventually did a rebuttal. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it was, musical competition, all kid groups. And, it was friendly competition, man. We respect the youngsters. You know what I'm saying? What
Yeah.
they did. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Karan had nothing but good things to say, and he said he was a big
Yeah.
fan of the group. He said the
Yeah.
beef was more just gimmicky, just to kind of get a little
Yeah,
hype.
and
But
that's all it is. And that's all it is. Like to take it a little further back, I think even like Tretch and Jermaine had a little back and forth, because I think Chris and them sampled Uptown Anthem on the way of the rhyme. You know
mhm.
what I'm saying? Doom, 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 doom. The second part
Yeah,
of the song when the beat changed.
yeah,
And but I don't know if that's the reason that they had the back and forth, but then Tretch comes with the youngsters, and then they start dissing Kris Kross. So I think it kind of started with Tretch and JD, if you ask me. You
yeah, I
know what I'm
kind of did.
saying?
So I did
Yeah,
ask him that. So
yeah,
he basically said, so at the end of the OPP video, I guess
yeah,
the people are jumping around, hopping around.
yeah,
So he
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
Tretch is saying Jermaine saw that and that inspired Jump, and he used
Well,
that.
there's another. There you go. Yeah, and see, so it was always little tidbits in there, and then like we were saying, like, and then Kris Kross, and then he brought the youngsters out, and and they came with Coos Pop. Then Kris Kross responded on All Right, unlike those modes that chose to pass
That's
the
the
mic.
mic.
It's the Daddy Matt bit, baby. So
Right,
it was friendly competition,
definitely.
and it kind of went further. With Illegal. I know you remember the group
Of
Illegal,
course,
Mr. Malik
Jamal
and
and Mr.
Jamal.
Malik.
Yeah, Fade them all, Jamal. And
Hmm.
they had the song We Gets Busy with Eric Sermon. That was their first single.
Right.
And in that video is black and white, and they're in the studio. That's why Kris Kross video I'm Real is black and white and in the
Ah,
studio. Because they were rebutting Illegal's We Gets Busy
got it.
video.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So
Good inside
so friendly
information there.
friendly competition,
Heck
man.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
All right,
And
so
I
there.
think, and
Sorry.
and one more thing, I'm sorry,
No,
Nick.
you're
And
fine.
at the beginning of the I'm Real video, I just thought about it. I think it says illegal broadcast, like when Skeeter Rod doing the intro.
Oh
So
yeah, I forgot about
it was
that
just
part.
little stuff. Yeah, it was just like
Yeah,
little stuff in there to make you realize, yeah, it's like a little shot, but you know what I'm saying, friendly competition. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to add
the
that
floor
in.
was yours. No problem at all.
Oh, it's all good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so we had the first three albums. They were all very successful. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is where I feel a lot of hardcore Kris Kross fans feel they were shortchanged because the
Mm-hmm.
story's kind of vague. Jermaine doesn't comment on it much. Joe the Butcher
Mm-hmm.
Nicolo doesn't, DJ Nabs doesn't. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Just, I
Right,
mean,
right, right.
do you think there'd be an unsung or a behind the music? Like what happened after that is strange. You can't tell me after 3 successful albums, another record label, even if Jermaine was done with them, I'm not saying he was, somebody
Right,
wouldn't take those numbers and sign them or want to do more music with them because they technically
right.
never fell off.
Right, right. Now, all I know is that, and I know you're maybe familiar with this, being a Double K fan as well. After Young Rich and Dangerous, they had taken a break. I don't think they took a break from doing music. I think because they both had respective home studios, so they were still always doing music. But I think they were doing the music they wanted to do. You know, and then in 2000, I think it was the Butcher that, Kris, who you just referenced. I think he started Judgment Records. That was gonna be like a kind of like a subsidiary to, when he was with Rough House Columbia doing his thing. He
Right.
started his own thing. You know what I'm saying? So he started his own thing, Judgment Records, and he had an artist, and I know you may be familiar, named Said, and
Yep.
I still have Said CD to this day upstairs. Not the, I think it's the sample CD that Kris gave me. But
Okay.
I think the plan was, and don't quote me on this, I think the plan was for Said to come out. He was an R&B singer. Said to come out, and then Kris Kross was featured on his first single, "Look How They Raised Us,"
Hmm.
which is on YouTube.
It is.
Look How They Raised Us, and I think that was the plan. But you're right, Nick. I don't know. It's like in between that time, it was like a secretive, like I don't even know.
Hmm.
It was like between that time, like they even had a website, a Judgment Records website, and it was up, and Kris Nunn was on there, Said was on there, a couple of other artists. You know what I'm saying? And then you just didn't hear about it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just it never was brought up in conversation. And they were rocking out, and then I just didn't hear about it
Yeah.
anymore. All I saw was Chris Terry, and I know we'll get to Chris Terry, but him coming over doing songs with Chris Smith and Chris Kelly being in the Smith studio. And I don't even, those unreleased songs, I don't even know if that was for an upcoming Kris Kross album or if it's for Judgment Records. Like, I don't know. But I can't say they were recording. I can't say
Okay.
that much because I was there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah.
So, with everything being very vague, you can't tell me the story of Kris Kross is not money for behind the music, for
Oh,
unsung.
absolutely.
Is there
Absolutely.
somebody that is trying to not have the story told or they don't want something to come out?
You know what I think it is, Nick? I think it's a couple of things. I think the first thing is when you talk about the Kris Kross legacy, it's so delicate. You know what I'm saying? You think about a newborn baby or a priceless piece of glass. So it's delicate. You know what I'm saying? Even with them, and not to jump the gun, but going
You're fine.
back to the 20th anniversary show. That was a big decision because they hadn't been on the stage since what? 2000, because they did one reunion one time. I think it was like oh 01, maybe
Okay.
2000, 2001. I remember they did a newspaper article about it. But when they did the So Def show, that was a big decision because it was over a decade since they had been on stage together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as that was 2 months before Kelly's transition. So I'm just glad that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But as far as the unsung, I think another part of it, it's a collaborative decision. You know what I'm saying? Um, First of all, Kris has to want to do it. Number one, him
Yeah. Of
being
course.
one half of the group. That's number one. But then the other half is you want to make sure Kelly's family, his mother, his stepdad, his cousin Toya, his uncle Joe, everybody, all his family, that they all, both families on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that the story is told right, and that it represents the Kris Kross legacy, and more importantly than that, the memory of Chris Kelly and Chris Terry. You
Of
know what I'm
course.
saying? But if you ask me, I think that it's gonna happen. When, I don't know, but I think if we can get Chris Smith and maybe Donna Kelly's mother, I think if them two say yeah, let's do it, and now I think that would be like the launching pad to moving forward to getting the unsung done. And we get JD. If we can get everybody, I think everybody just got to sit down and meet about it. That
Hmm.
it's just like the So Def show. Jermaine put the call out to Kelly, put the call out to Kris, and look what happened.
Right.
History, repeat itself. So I think that's what's going to have to
Okay.
take. It just have to take everybody being on the same page. And
Okay.
once that happens, I think it's going to happen. Unsung. Kris
Gotcha.
Kross Unsung.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
talked a little bit about their reunion concert. I was actually there
Mhm.
myself, made the trip
Yeah,
from
for
Erie,
sure.
PA to Atlanta, row
Yeah.
6. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. Great show.
a great
Great
show.
show.
The whole thing was great, not just their
Yeah, it
performance,
wasn't
but
like 5 hours long.
it was crazy. And I didn't feel like
Yeah.
5 hours. It was
Yeah, good
incredible.
Jay-Z surprise. Yeah, it was a great
Usher was
show.
there, Mariah Carey, Lil
Usher,
Jon,
Monica, yeah,
Jaquan, off the top of
yeah,
my head.
Bone Crusher. Yeah, everybody was there. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. Great
Oh
show.
yeah. Absolutely. So it was you could see the energy in their performance and you could just tell they were really feeling the moment. Like you said, I'm glad to see that they had that last performance before he had passed. He definitely went out with a bang. I mean, can you comment
Yes.
on were you around them up to that concert, that time frame, how they
Yes.
felt?
Oh my God. Yes, Nick. And I don't think we have time to tell the full story, but I'm just gonna give you a little snippet. I know you know this about me on Facebook, and for the viewers once they see this, I have a segment. It's called the Kris Kross Chronicles. It's on Facebook, and you just type into the Facebook search engine, and then you could hear all the different stories that I have about Kris
Definitely.
Kross. And
Check them out.
it's a whole
Definitely do.
bunch of installments. But I think one of the installments that I did was actually about the So Def show. So it's the night of the concert, right?
Mhm.
So Kris contacted me. We have been, me, Kelly, and Smith have been in contact as soon as they did the press conference at City Hall that they were, reuniting, because as soon as I heard, I'm calling like, hey man, I'm gonna need some tickets. You get any extra tickets after you take care of your family, look out for your boy, one of those things. So night of the show. So Kris ended up getting 2 tickets for me and my wife. And I know I hadn't said this, but I used to work for Mayor Bill Campbell. He was a very good friend of my dad's, my late father. My dad worked in his campaign. Well, Bill Campbell came through with 2 tickets as well for Leroy, who I spoke about earlier, and
Yes.
his fiance. Yeah, of course they were in different sections, but we were just happy just to be in the building, for just such a magical show. So okay, to the story. So it's the night of the concert, right? So we get to the Fox, Nick. I got my Kris Kross So Def jacket on, the one that Brad Warren Funkified. I have the same jacket. It's actually Kris' jacket. He gave it to me, that jacket. But
Nice.
anyway, and so I go to will call. Say my name's Corey Prewitt. I supposed to be 2 tickets here from Chris Smith from Kris Kross. The tickets were not there, Nick.
Oh,
Now you remember the show. The show started on time at 8 o'clock. Chris and
absolutely.
them, yeah, DJ Nav was scratching at 8 o'clock on the dot. So this like 7:30. We down there, and so I said the tickets ain't a will call. So I'm texting Kris. Now they got to go on 30 minutes, maybe less. I'm texting Smith, that is. I'm texting Smith. I'm like, man, the tickets ain't out here, bro. They ain't out here. And he like, man, I left them out there. I promise, And I'm panicking. This 30 minutes before the show. And so it was another will call, at Fox. So I go to that will call. The tickets were not there. And so I remember it was a podium to speed the story up. It was a podium. And there was a lady at a podium. It was like a red rug, like you roll out the red carpet type
Sure.
deal. It was like a red carpet. It was like a strip of carpet. I never forget it.
Uh-huh.
And so my wife was like, try up there. So I go up there, man. I'm talking about Nick, low expectations. I already got turned down at the other 2 wheel calls. You know what they say, three's a charm. So I go up, I go up to the lady. I'm like, hey, my name's Corey Pruitt. You got 2 tickets from Chris Smith from Kris Kross. I got the tickets right
Oh,
here, man.
whew.
And Nick, when I tell you, right when I got the tickets, Mayor Campbell turned the corner and was calling me. He's like, hey, I'm in the front, and I went and got the tickets for Leroy. And so,
Wow.
man, we went in, and it was like 7:45, and right when we walked in, the first person I saw was Kris' sister Jennifer Smith,
Okay.
sister Jennifer, and Looney was there, his brother. I got to meet Looney's wife, and they met my wife. It was like it was like a family reunification, man. It was Kris Kross unifying again, but man, to see Jennifer as soon as I walked in, like she didn't even recognize me because she hadn't seen me in so long with the beard and everything. She always had to do a double take with the sunglasses and everything. I had to take my sunglasses off. I was like, Jennifer. And she was like, Corey, oh my God, And so
Nice.
and then we all ended up sitting on the same row. Leroy sat a little close up front because there were Mary Campbell tickets, so he was a little bit further up than us, but
Yeah,
but still in the same section. Though he was just a few rows up, and I was in the row with Looney and his wife and Jennifer and my wife and everybody. So it was just a remark, man. We were so crunk, man. When Kris and them came out, man, we were jumping and warming it up and living die for hip hop. It was
absolutely.
a really great show, and so I just wanted to share that story with you, man.
Absolutely. Great story. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, man.
Yeah. So anybody that hasn't seen that, definitely type in Kris Kross So Def 20 performance. The energy, you
Absolutely,
could tell how bad they wanted it. You also brought up DJ
absolutely,
Nabs. DJ
absolutely.
Nabs, you could tell he gave 120%. He cut it up
Oh
on the ones and
man,
twos so
yeah,
hard. It was
that's my
unbelievable.
brother. That's my
Just
big brother
killed
right
it.
there. I love Navs, man. Great
Definitely.
guy, man. Great guy. And man, I just want to add this about Navs is that we were talking about recognition and everything, and Navs never been that type of person to do things for recognition. But I must say, just go on record that Navs is a DJ legend.
One of the best,
He's
in my opinion.
yeah, absolutely. From originally a Carolina boy, and came to Atlanta, and when Kris and them success, it happened so fast, Nick. A lot of people don't realize how fast it happened. Like again, after that living color performance, it just took off so fast, and
Hmm.
they need a DJ, and for Nas to be man to come in when he did, man, it just added to that whole performance, man. He was like the missing piece of the puzzle, kind of sort of. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And he's definitely a DJ legend. He had the opportunity. He was on the radio down here in the
Yeah.
lab with DJ Nabs. He's been able to be around the legends, the Jam Master J's. Rest in peace to Jam Master J. All the great DJs. And he's a legend. And I got a
Absolutely.
lot of love for DJ Nabs. And a great guy, just a great person, easy to talk to. Great guy and just a very good friend of mine. I got a lot of love for Nabs.
Absolutely. He always, yeah, he took it real seriously. He almost basically considers him part of that group. Like he is Kris Kross.
Yeah,
It's funny. I see him
yeah,
on social
absolutely.
media. People be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, that So Def was a great performance. They did a good job." He'd be like, "Thank you, but we did a good job. We're Kris
absolutely,
Kross," which
absolutely,
helps because he
absolutely.
was that into it.
Absolutely. And being so young and being brought in to the whole Kris Kross equation at a young age, you know what I'm saying? He was able to, meet Michael Jackson and go on Soul Train with Don Cornelius, Arsenio Hall show.
Hmm.
Uh it's funny, speak about the Arsenio Hall show, not to get off topic. Uh have you seen the performance when they did It's a Shame and
Yes.
they do the interview afterwards?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
About Chris, mom
Okay.
called. You got to take the garbage out and all
Right,
that.
right, right. Okay. When the pager goes off, that's me and Leroy.
Is that
That's
no?
me
It
and Leroy.
isn't.
Yes, yes, it is, Nick. And man, I know I just more stories from Corey, I guess. Okay. When they did Warm It Up, I posted that on my Instagram. When they did the
Mhm.
Warm It Up performance with the Yellow Jackets,
Yeah.
okay, they did an interview after that. I think the interview's on YouTube. I think it's two separate uploads.
I
It's
believe
not
so. Yeah.
together. Okay, but well, in the interview actually cuts off a little early at the end. Whoever uploaded it. The part that's not on there when Arsenio's going to commercial, Smith was supposed to give me and Leroy a shout out. We had talked the day before they flew out to do Warm It Up. This is the second time they want
Okay.
Arsenio.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to give us a shout out. So when the camera pans and they go into commercial, they show the crowd, then the camera swings, shows Chris Kell and Chris Smith. Smith hits his forehead. And I knew right there, he was like, I forgot to shout out Leroy and Corey. So it was Leroy's idea when they went, It's a Shame. We were on the phone. I'll never forget this. We were on the phone and he was like, man, I'm finna page Chris. Because Chris had, I don't know if you remember Sky Pages. You remember when we had beepers back in the
Yes.
day?
Yes. Definitely.
Well, and Sky Pages, you can get pages outside the city. But regular pages, you couldn't get them only in the metro area. Well,
Mhm.
Chris, of course, both of them had Sky Pages since they were traveling so much. So, their parents would get in contact with him, whoever. So he paged. I said, man, don't page. I'll never forget we were on the phone. I said, man, don't page me doing an interview, man. This pager probably ain't even on, man. Man, he said, I'm a pager, man. He called him on three-way, paged them, put the pin number in, man. So, you saw what happened. Arsenio said, y'all did the video with Jordan and Jackson, Michael and Kelly go to answer, then the beeper go off. That was me and Leroy.
You
That
guys
was
helped write some
Leroy.
jokes for because Arsenio turned
Yeah.
it into a joke, so I helped him out
Yeah,
there.
And Arsenio, you never called us back. He said he was gonna call us back at the commercial break. He never called us back. So
Oh, come on, Arsenio.
yeah, but yeah,
That's
that
funny.
was me and Leroy.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right, so we had the 20th anniversary concert, and you kind of already brought it up. Unfortunately, just 2 months later, we did lose Chris Kelly.
Yeah, rest in
Absolute,
peace.
yeah, definitely. It's very tragic. Now,
Yes.
can you tell me what impact that had on hip hop in Atlanta? I mean, Big Boy from Outkast came out. Ludacris said Chris Kelly inspired him. I mean, can you just tell me
Hmm.
how that was when that all happened?
Oh man, it was just such a tragic, just a sad day. To give you an idea, he passed May 1st of 2013, and like you said, we're talking 2 months and some change after they just reunited on stage. Um, I was at work when I got the news. A friend of ours, Ryan Woodson. Ryan attended Connell Colony Elementary School with me and Kris Kross as well. So Chris and them knew Ryan as well. But Ryan's wife and Toya, Chris's Lay Wise, who you see on Instagram, Kelly's cousin, are best friends. Okay. So Ryan calls me while I'm at work. I was working night shift. I never forget. And he called me. He said, "Hey man, you heard anything about Chris Kelly passing away?" And I was like, "No, man, they just reunited on stage. No." And what's ironic, Nick, I just called Kelly earlier that day because I was in the barber shop before I went to work, and my barber seen Chris Kelly in the club that previous Saturday.
Okay.
And I said, man, I'm gonna tell Kelly because he didn't go up to him when he saw him. I said, I'm gonna call Kelly, tell him you in the club. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell him. And so when I called, of course, I didn't get an answer. That was about I had to be to work at 3:30, so that was around maybe about 2 o'clock when I called, and I didn't get an answer. And I remember Chris Kelly's voicemail said, "Leave it." That was his little voicemail before he left him at "Leave it." I just remember that.
Sounds
But
right.
to the story, yeah. So to the story, so when I got the call, how it is when you hear about someone's transition. Complete denial. No, I was just with that person. I just seen him on Instagram. No, I just talked to him. That's same thing. Complete denial. So being in denial, I didn't want to call Chris Smith and be like, "Hey man, you heard about Chris Kelly passing away?" I didn't know if he knew, if it was true. I didn't know. I was just completely taken off guard about this news. So I said, I'll text Chris. So I text Smith. So I text him and I didn't get a response. I text his brother-in-law at the time, Burrell. I text him at the time. I didn't get a response. I text Looney at the time. And Looney eventually called me back. It was probably about 15, 20 minutes later. He called me back when I was about to get off work. And I said, Looney, I said, man, I don't want to start nothing. I said, because when Looney answered, he sounded regular. Like, he's like, man, what's up, Corey? And I was like, man, I don't want to stir up nothing. I would never do that. You know how much I love Chris, and you as a brother as well. I said, but I just got a call that Chris Kelly passed away. Please tell me that is not true. Don't tell me anything else that is not true. So Looney was like, what? He said, man, let me call Chris. I'll call you back, man. Hung up the phone and he never called back, Nick.
Oh man.
He never called. I mean, when he didn't call back, that's when I kind of started getting that funny feeling. I even called my wife because my wife was at the show. And I said, and she knows Ryan, of course. I said, Ryan said something about Chris Kelly passing. And she was in denial. But, she eventually contacted me because Ryan Cameron, I think, broke the news on B13 about his passing. And, man, I was, hurt. And I always keep some Kris Kross in the car, whether it's totally crossed out. I don't think I own the Bomb album on CD. I have it on tape. I don't
Sure.
have it on CD. But Young, Rich, and Dangerous, I keep some double K in the car. So I remember just playing Young, Rich, and Dangerous. I know we were talking about how great that album was. I played that album backwards and forwards. I played Money, Power, and Fame, Hey Sexy, Living Down for Hip Hop, thinking about Chris Terry and all the times we had. And now, Kelly, they reuniting in heaven. It was just, my wife was really the backbone during that time. That
Yeah.
was really tough, man. That was, man, because it wasn't like Kelly was sick and we knew, we could prepare ourselves
Yeah.
for it. Someone who had like cancer or had a stroke, you can kind of prepare yourself
Yeah.
for it. I went through that with both my parents being ill in the hospital. But when it's something like that, and to be so young, 34 years old,
So young. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? To be so young, and it's just, and to this day, I miss him every day. Man, rest in peace to the MAC.
Yeah, it absolutely was unbelievable. So
Yeah.
I knew Chris Kelly a little bit from MySpace. He's very, we talked a little
Yeah.
bit. He was so
Yeah.
cool. He
Oh
actually
man.
found me because there was a
Yeah.
website. I can't remember what the website was. I was shouting out like some of their songs. Somebody just said, I think Chris Cross's only song was Jump. And I actually stated, nope, they had Tonight's the Night, All Right, I'm Real. So he requested me on MySpace. But again,
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, he was
And he
real
was so
cool.
open like that. I
Yeah.
remember he would like put his number out on MySpace. Like, and I'd be like, Kelly, man, you can't just put your number out there. But to him, like Chris Kelly, and I can just speak, I'm just speaking for Kelly because he's no longer here. Kelly was in the industry, but he wasn't an industry dude,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense. He was so
Absolutely.
regular. And man, just man, both of them. Like everyone always asks me, Nick. They say, "Man, what was it like growing up with Kris Kross?" And you know the one thing I always say, they never changed. They
Yeah.
never changed.
I've
They
heard
were the
that. Yeah.
same. Chris and Chris from 1988. We were in fourth grade, you know, in the band and in chorus and Boy Scouts up to now, man. Up to
Yeah.
Kelly's passing. Yeah,
Yeah, he was just so open, kind of
yeah,
like you
man.
said.
He
Like we
dope,
talked a little
man.
bit on MySpace. He would wish me happy birthday on MySpace.
Yeah,
He
man.
said, if
That's
you're
my
ever in the
guy.
A, hit me up. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, anything for a
Yeah,
real fan. I mean, that's how much
yeah.
he appreciated his fans and everything.
Yeah,
It's just
and you know
unbelievable.
and what people don't realize is that from the age of I would say 11, because I know Kris Kross came out when they were 12, but
Hmm.
I would say about 11 because they really started recording then. So from age 11 to 34, Chris Kelly wore his pants backwards every day to the day that he passed. He loved Kris Kross. He was proud of Kris Kross. He anything that they accomplished. He was just so proud of it. A lot of people. I met some people in the industry. They boast about their accomplishments, and they always try to belittle other people because they got this award or they accomplished this goal. Christian wasn't like that. They
Hmm.
wasn't like that. The award. If you were asking them, man, what was it like me, Michael Jackson? Oh, it was cool. What was it like me, Duncan Hicks? Oh, it was cool. Like it
Very
wasn't.
modest.
Yeah, they were so modest, man, and I just love that about both of them, man. They didn't allow their fame and the industry and everything that came with the money, the success to go to their heads. They stayed grounded. So I gotta give love to both of the Smith and the Kelly and the Pratt family for keeping both
Absolutely.
of them grounded. Definitely.
Absolutely. They were both very modest.
Yeah,
But
and being
yeah,
so young, yeah,
very young.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
just crazy stuff. So, all right, Diligent. So the name of the interview is Off the Radar. So we like to get into
Hmm.
some off the radar topics. You've already gave us some incredible Kris Kross stories and Young Dro and whatnot.
Hmm.
But I want to end everything off with a gentleman who was actually featured on the Young, Rich, and Dangerous album. Very smooth style, great rapper.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, passed away, I want to say 2001, 2000, in a car accident. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What can you say about the man, Chris Terry?
Okay, actually, it was actually April of '99 when he
Okay,
passed.
thank you.
So it's '99. You were close though. Yeah, it was this a year, but yeah, not April of '99 when he passed. Chris Terry, wow, what can't you say about Chris Terry? Great artist, great friend, great brother, a father to his son, uh, great big brother, his little brother Tony, who was with him at the time of the accident. And man, such a phenomenal artist, man. I remember the first time I seeing Chris Terry. I ain't even have a formal introduction. I attended Douglas High School, and Chris Terry attended Mays High School with Goodie Mob, TLC, Chili from TLC, Rosanda Thomas from TLC. All them went to Mays together. Well, Mays and Doug were rival schools in the Atlanta area. So anytime they played each other, it was a big deal. I'm talking, Nick, girls going out getting outfits, getting their hair done, dudes getting outfits and fresh haircuts. It was a big deal. And even alumni, like, I want to say, man, I think Chris Terry, man, he had graduated during this time. He had already, so the alumni would come back to the game. Like, it was a really big deal. So I remember when the game was letting out, it was at Morehouse at Forbes Arena. When it was letting out, the guy that was with me went to Mays and recognized Chris Terry. I had only heard Chris Terry. I hadn't met him yet, so I didn't know what he looked like or anything. He was like, you know who that is over there? And I looked, and I see a guy with gold teeth, nice, got waves in his hair, polo, fresh. Like, man, that's Chris Terry right there. I said, oh, that's Chris Terry. Oh, okay. You know, but I didn't even go up to him and tell him that I was friends with Chris and them then. When I met Chris Terry, it was at Chris Smith's house. Because what happened, Uncle, we call him Uncle Lamar, but Chris Kelly's uncle, Lamar, rest in peace, Lamar. I know he passed shortly after Chris. But Lamar would bring Chris Terry over to, and Chris Kelly over to Smith House. They would bring Terry over there. So that's how I got introduced to Terry. So he would be at Smith House. We would be shooting pool. He'll record. He had a couple of unreleased tracks that I'm pretty sure Smith still has, even over 20 years later. And man, it was just a honor to know him, to learn from him. You know, he
Mhm.
man, he had. I remember just we were standing out back. Out Chris has a stoop out back at the back of his house, and we were out there. And he was like, "Man, I'm trying to get a deal, man. When I come out, I'm gonna do this for my son." And you know, he was really motivated. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, the Young Rich and Dangerous was his launching pad. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I
Mhm.
going back to Young Rich and Dangerous, I really wish that they would have come out with a third single after Live and Die. I wish
Yes,
they would have done Money, Power, and Fame. I think that would have been a dope third
definitely.
single for them. Because
Yeah.
what people don't know is Kris Kross. I don't know if the footage is out there in the world, but Chris and them got interviewed. I think it was Big Les on Rap City. I think it was Big Les when
Okay.
she was hosting. And Chris Terry is in the interview. I think like Terry, either Terry or Kelly in a hot tub. Smith is chilling somewhere, and Terry was in the interview. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen it. I've
Okay.
always heard about it, but just one of those mystery things that, you know, just like the whole Judgment Records thing, just one of the things we'll never know unless it just pops up somewhere.
Yeah,
You know what
I've
I'm
never
saying?
seen it. I would like to. If someone has the link, send it to
Yeah,
us,
yeah, it would
please.
be dope. Yeah, absolutely. And man, he was just a phenomenal person. When he passed, man, that was, and like Kelly's passing, it was just so tragic. You know, I can remember me, Smith, Kelly, Jennifer, Braille, all of us, Looney, was Looney, yeah, Looney was there, yeah, all of us on the same row, just crying, just man, all of us was hurt, all of us was hurt. Yeah, Chris was crying, man, Kelly was so strong, man. I can't remember Kelly actually boo-hooing. Like he was sad, of course, because you know he Chris Terry was his man, but I can't remember him actually boo-hooing. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But he was a great guy. He
Too
was
bad.
a great guy.
Too bad.
I miss him every day.
Yeah, he doesn't have a huge body of work out there that we can find, but everything you listen
Yeah.
to is his delivery and everything is just exceptional. I mean,
Yeah, and you know what's so great that his brother, you know, again, shouting out Tony Terry, that he even rapping. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So it, it's like the spirit of both Chris's are
mhm.
still there. You know, even through me when I rap. You know, when you hear me, you're gonna hear Chris Terry. You're gonna hear Chris Kelly. When you hear his name is Tony, rap name is Montana.
Yeah,
So when you hear Montana, you hear his older brother, you hear Chris Kelly. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as long as we hear, and including Smith, you know, you're gonna hear Terry and Kelly, man. We're gonna make sure they memory live on forever
for
because
sure.
man, they solely will never be forgotten, man. Neither one of them. I miss them every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
see connection for
see,
life.
connection, yes.
Believe that.
You've definitely given
Yeah.
us some great stories, which I really appreciate. Before I let you go, do you have anything you want to promote? How can fans contact you or anything
Yeah.
you'd like to bring up?
All right, well, I'll try not to be too long-winded, but I must say, Nick, it is a lot. So, let me
You're
see
fine.
where I start. Okay, well, let me start here. If you want to get in contact with Diligent, you know myself, I'm on Instagram. It's at Diligent Swats. That's D as in dog, ILIGENT SWATS. That's Diligent Swats all together, no underscore. So you can add me at on Instagram, and the same on Twitter at Diligent Swats as well. On Facebook, and I know Nick said my government, which is cool. I'm good with the government. But on Facebook, it's like what Nick said, it's Corey, Corey, Diligent, my stage name, Prewitt, Prewitt, Senior on Facebook. Okay. 8 a.m. If you want, like I said earlier, if you want to get our album, it's out on all streaming on all platforms. So you just type in 8 a.m. in the morning. That's the number 8, like on the shirt right here, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in the morning. The single is out, the album and the video, 8 a.m. That's the title track. The video is out, so by all means, go on YouTube and check that out. The 8 a.m. Instagram is at the number 8 a.m. 2020, like the year since 2020, 8 a.m. 2020. And on Facebook, we have an 8 a.m. page. It's 8 a.m. artist page on Facebook. So that's 8 a.m. For Divine Sons, our upcoming album is going to be called The Beautiful. And we just finished shooting the cover for that as of yesterday. So we get the music is done. We're just waiting to get the cover back, and so we can put it out to the public. But our first single is out, and the video is called Absolutely No One, and it's Divine Sons, and that's Sons with a U, not a O, with the U. SUNS, Divine Sons, 2 words. Absolutely No One on YouTube. You can check out the video. And you can check out the single streaming on all platforms. Our website is Divine Sons, all together, DIVINESUNS.bandcamp.com. So you can get all the Divine Sons projects from Chaos Theory, from All Is Well, and all our other Divine Sons projects. Again, The Beautiful will be dropping soon, our new Divine Sons
Excellent.
project. Plex Long, who's 1/8 of the Divine Sons with myself, and who also is a part of Black Box Entertainment, who I know, Nick, you've seen on social media.
Absolutely.
If you want to get his current album, Growth Season, it's on all platforms. Just type in Plex Long. That's Plex Long, LONG, 2 words. And Growth Season is out, and he has other albums that's out. My Purpose Volume 1, Volume 2. He has a lot of material out. You just type in Plex Long. If you type into YouTube, you'll see all his videos, all his music from all his albums. Man, phenomenal artist. Anon the Griot, who's the other part of 8 a.m. He's coming out with a solo project. It's actually his sophomore project. It's called Alchemy, which will be dropping soon. But if you want to get his first project from Anon the Griot, the other half of 8 a.m. in the morning, it's called A Beautiful Headache. A Beautiful Headache on all platforms. The video for that is out. It's called Nothing Greater, featuring myself and Plex Long, who I just spoke about. That's on YouTube as well. Nothing Greater by Non Degree, featuring myself, Diligent, and Plex Long. The Hunch Punch Champ, who's another part of Divine Sons. His album is coming out. Champions Don't Die. And that will be dropping soon. We're probably going to drop that after The Beautiful and before Alchemy, which I just spoke about. So the Hunch Punch Champ, his album will be dropping soon. Dan Johns, who's another part of Divine Sons. His album is out. Invisible Ink. That's Dan Johns, DANJOHNS. Dan Johns. His album is out. Invisible Ink, and on all platforms. And lastly, if I could say, we're also featured on Feed the Lions. It's Cujo Goodies mixtape, if you would. It's a culmination of different artists. And we have a song on Volume 1, Feed the Lions Volume 1. It's called The Middle. And it features all the Divine Sons and Black Box artists, and including my man Real, who's a part of Star One Entertainment. But you can Google that, and you can YouTube that to check it out. And if you choose to download it, we appreciate the support. And it's on all platforms. That's Cujo Goodie of the Goodie Mob presents Feed the Lions Volume 1. And Volume 2 will be dropping soon, and we're featured on that as well. Myself, along with Anon, who's the other half of 8 a.m., Plex Long, and the Hunch Punch Champ, who I just spoke of, who's dropping Champions Don't Die. And
Excellent.
produced by Billy Northam, who produced the 8 a.m. album and the 8 a.m. single. So I definitely want to plug that in.
Sure.
Lastly, I know I spoke about it earlier. Our website, webeautifulpeople.com. Webeautifulpeople.com. You get your 8 a.m. gear. You can get your BBE gear, Black Box Entertainment, Divine Sons gear, Absolutely No One gear, Dan Johns gear. It's all on there. We got coffee mugs. We got cell phone cases. Just everything, just trying to promote our various brands and just trying to get the Divine Sons name out there. So webeautifulpeople.com. And I think I covered it all for the most part. Once the quarantine opens up, Anon and I, 8 a.m. in the morning, we're currently doing, we open up Cujo Goodies Showcase. It's called FIE5, that's FIE55 Delish talent showcase. And
Okay.
you can see that footage on my social media. You know, I have different clips from that. But if you're in the Stockbridge or East Point area, we normally at the Black Diamond Lounge in Stockbridge or at Pyramids in East Point on Main Street. And
Excellent.
so once when everything opened up, we'll be getting back to, you know, opening up the showcases for Cujo. And one last thing, Nick. Speaking about Cujo, I definitely want to promote his album, Echoes of a Legend, because Cujo and Goodie Mob definitely legends
For sure.
in the hip hop and rap game, not just for Atlanta, but for the rap game as a whole. So for all the Goodie Mob fans, by all means, download Cujo's new album, Echoes of a Legend. Also, Big Gip. Gip has Gip Goodies. You know, for your THD, I think it's called. I'm not too familiar with it, but for everybody who partakes in those things, Gip Goodies. Add them on Instagram. Gip be in different locations throughout the city, just giving away merch and just trying to promote his brand. And it just so much, man. Goody Mob working, Divine Sons working, Black Box working, 8 a.m. working, Black Smoke, Magnum Opus. It's all Divine Sons. But at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
Nick, it's all family, man.
All
So
right.
if I'm too long-winded again, I apologize. I
No.
just want to get everything out. We just got so much going on. We always working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I got
Excellent.
everything out.
Diligent, keeping busy. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And one more thing, Nick, I just want to add. For the diligent videos, I just want to shout out my man Dan Hunter of Yellow Trigger Films. He shoots all the diligent videos. I think for the exceptions of maybe one or two. But if you ever on YouTube, type in diligent, fresh perspective, take me away, remix. It's so many. I just can't think right now, but it's at the beginning. It's so many diligent videos out there, and
Yeah.
I just want to plug my man Dan Hunter, Yellow Trigger Films. Man, he's a phenomenal video art friend, a good friend. He directed the 8 a.m. video that
Awesome.
you know what I'm saying I just promoted. So shout out to Dan Hunter.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. Thank you so much for your time.
Already, and thank you, Nick. Kris Kross forever. Rest in peace, Chris Terry. Rest in peace, Chris Kelly. Shout out to my man Smith, DADDY. And please log on to urbanmuse.com. URBANEMUSE. Urbanmuse.com. That's my man Chris Smith, one half of Kris Kross, Daddy Mac. That's his website. He has merch. He does paintings, and you know, check out his music, and it's definitely out there on YouTube. So shout out to Chris Smith and One Life Entertainment. Kris Kross forever. Believe that.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nick.